Hey, are you guys ready to say hello MG?
Hi, how can I help?
You can help me by telling me who are you?
Sorry, I can't do it.
Well, she may not be able to do it, but I can because finally we've got our hands on MG's first offering for India, the Hector on public roads. So, what is MG about and what is the Hector about? Let's find out. Now, if you are over 30 years old and have some amount of interest in automobiles, you'll know that MG stands for Morris Garages, which is a British brand. And you might also know that they are known for making small, affordable, sporty machines. Which this isn't. It's big, as you can see. Affordable, well, we'll have to wait and see about that. And sporty, well, it's the kind of sporty we like. SUV. The face. Modern SUV, right? That's a layout we know so well now. On top there you have those LED DRLs and the actual headlamps down below, which are all LEDs here on this top-end variant that we are driving. And I'm going to shout out here for the usage of chrome. There's plenty of it, but tastefully done. And another shout out for the front parking sensors on the Hector as well. And we're going to give an even bigger shout out to the generosity of the Hector. Because you get all LED headlamps and tail lamps on all but the lowest variant. There are LED DRLs, turn indicators on ORVMs for the cool factor right from the base variant. There are roof rails up top and side body cladding to ensure that even the base variant has the proper rugged quotient. 198mm of ground clearance. SUV quotient established? Well, somewhat. It's not setting benchmarks on that front, but what it is setting benchmarks is in terms of length. It's the longest in the class, has the longest wheelbase, but the sad part is those overhangs aren't exactly flattering. They exaggerate the size of it, and that's where those wheels, which are 17-inch machine finished, look smart, but they end up getting dwarfed by the car's proportions. And those wheel arches that bulge out diminish their impact, and taking away from that SUV quotient is also the roof line, which kind of swoops down like an MPV. Well, that MPV-like body style, this clamshell-like tailgate, and those tail lamps, do they remind you of a certain German? Well, the German impression, the good thing is, it's carried forward to even the way the doors open. This feels hefty. Let's see what it's like on the inside now. While a weighty door is unnecessary, good plastics aren't. And in the Hector, sigh of relief. That's what it might be for a lot of you who've asked us, is MG British or is it Chinese? Well, it is a British brand that's owned by a Chinese company. And when you step in, you'll see that it is tastefully done. This doesn't have the usual cliches of being overly flashy or gaudy. In fact, the dash design is simple. The way it's all put together, it feels solid. The shut lines are nice and consistent. The quality of materials, not the most plush, but you do have some soft touch elements here on the dash, on the door pads, which give it that sense of richness. Could it do better? Sure it could. Some of the quilting for the leather, the stitching could be that much better to increase the sense of occasion on the inside. And it could do better in other areas as well. For instance, the support being offered by these seats, just the under thigh support could be better even when you raise it up for shorter drivers like me. It has a 6-way power adjustable driver's seat and tilt and telescopic steering for the top two variants. But finding the right driving position is a bit difficult. But the driver does get a lot of conveniences, like height adjustable seatbelts for the front occupants, rear wipe and washer from the base variant, and cruise control too. There's also a large 7-inch MID for the driver, which shows information like tire pressures and your music playlist. but this is hard to read in bright sunlight. But what's really taking center stage in this cabin is that 10.4-inch touchscreen infotainment system. Now this is the car's computer, and in terms of responsiveness, this is better than what we experienced last time. Could get a bit snappier as well, but on the whole, this is still nice and usable. One really handy feature that's also displayed here is the 360-degree camera, which makes wriggling out of tight spaces really easy in a car as large as this. And the Infinity sound system is pretty awesome too. The party piece, of course, of the system is the use of voice commands. Hello MG.
I'm listening.
Roll down driver side window.
Pardon?
Roll down driver side window.
I'm sorry. I'm having trouble understanding. You may press the talk button to try again.
Well, that happens once in a while. I'm going to try that again. Hello MG.
Yes?
Open driver side window. There you go. And that's not the only one. The one that you will really enjoy is to make most of that large panoramic sunroof. Hello MG.
Hi, how can I help?
Please open the sunroof. And then there's of course this, the iSmart app, which basically lets you control your internet-enabled car using an app on the phone. Open sunroof, enter passcode, go. For some reason it's saying closing sunroof right now. Okay, we're going to open it again. Sunroof open, enter security code. Done. Opening sunroof. Yes! Success. Now, open tailgate. Enter security code. Unlocking tailgate. It's saying success, but as you can see, it's not open the tailgate. Okay, we'll try that again. Unlocking tailgate. Nope, that's not worked out quite fine. And that's exactly the point of this. These are features that are nice to talk about and are handy every now and then, but right now they're more like gimmicks, not exactly things on which you would decide to buy a car. It hasn't won our trust over just yet. But interestingly, because of being internet enabled, it has a couple of additional features which up the safety and sense of security, because in case of an emergency, the system itself can send out a call and a message to emergency services and to an emergency contact that you can load onto the system here. Well, what have we got back here? Recline adjustable seats. Check it out. And as you can see, they're split, and you get 3 adjustable headrests here along with a proper 3-point seat belt even for the middle passenger. Big thumbs up on that front. That aside, you get rear aircon vents, a fast charging socket, and a place to store your phone in down there in this floor console. And what I would have liked more would have been maybe sun blinds for the rear passengers, because this is a large glass area, and this back seat, well, it is quite spacious and airy. You can see the amount of knee room on offer here. It's huge, but where it is lacking here again is in terms of under thigh support. You could do with more here, even for shorter passengers like me, and taller occupants will definitely find this to be quite knees up. And the thing is, if you are sitting in the petrol hybrid on that side behind the front passenger, you really can't push your feet forward, because that's where one of the batteries for the hybrid system is stored. Taller occupants though won't complain about headroom here, because there's enough on offer despite there being a sunroof packed in there. 587 liters of boot space, that is impressive. And you can look at this, it's wide, it's deep. The thing is, it's a bit shallow, especially with this luggage cover on top. You could remove that when you have larger pieces of luggage to store in here, and you'd think it is shallow because there's the tire sitting underneath the spare wheel. But when you lift this cover up, you'll see that there is some more odd storage space here for maybe soft luggage. Spare wheel is actually underneath, and to access that, don't start crying. You don't have to play some kind of a puzzle like you had to do in the old Innova. You have a small flap here which you open up, and then there's a bolt which you just wind away and the wheel will drop down. Now let's spin those wheels. Now there are 4 drivetrain options on offer on the MG Hector, starting with the petrol manual, then there's the petrol hybrid manual, then there's the petrol automatic, which does not get hybrid, and then there's the diesel manual. Of these 4, we are only driving the petrol hybrid manual and the diesel manual today. And the petrol motor seems to be very well suited for the urban grind. By combining hybrid tech with turbocharging, what you're getting is torque boost from the electric motor when you're off turbo, and once the turbo is on, of course you've got that drive plus the electric motor to give you the responsiveness, which means even at low speeds, just tap the throttle and you get nice peppiness from the engine, and that even continues when you're at highway speeds at 80 kilometers an hour. Just go on the gas slightly when you're doing, you're in 6th gear under 2000 RPM, go on the gas and you get the peppiness that you want. It's such a satisfying experience. We can tell you that the clutch on this is light, so that even for everyday driving, this shouldn't be a hassle. But there are a couple of things that you will wish the petrol did better. One, there's a slight whine from the engine that's always apparent inside the cabin. And second, even when you're constantly on the throttle, you'll find that the power comes on in sudden bursts. I think that has to do with the combination of the way the electric motor and the turbo kind of deliver their torque. And third, out on the highway, you're going to find that while this is adequate for cruising and for covering distances, for high-speed overtakes, power delivery might feel a little weak, and part of the reason is down to the gearing. In first gear, you'll do about 50 kph, second over 80, and third near about 130. This is undoubtedly to do with fuel efficiency and to get higher numbers basically. MG claims a fuel efficiency of 14 kilometers per litre for this engine. But if mileage is a key concern, then the 17.4 kpl of the diesel might appeal to you more. Now this 2-litre diesel engine, the Hector, we've seen it in the Compass, we've seen it in the Harrier, and it comes in the 170 PS state of tune, which is the same as the Compass. The Harrier gets less. And this though has been tuned specifically for the Hector in conjunction with Fiat powertrain technologies and SAIC. The 350 Newton meters of torque is same for all these cars, and that is a good thing for the Hector. What you are getting is a diesel engine that's great for covering distances quickly out on the highway. It's got the punch for that, yet at the same time, it's got good drivability even at low revs. Power starts coming on from 1500 RPM, and the gear shifts are pretty slick, although the clutch is, of course, heavier than on the petrol. So in terms of ride comfort, it's taking up the shocks of the road nicely. It is job well done, because at near 1650 kilograms for the top-end petrol variant, the Hector isn't a lightweight for sure. Now this is a big SUV, and keeping that in mind, I am pleasantly surprised with the way it manages itself around corners neatly. It isn't the sporty utility vehicle that you might imagine it to be, but it is neat and clean. The 215 section tires are a bit narrow to start with, and they begin to squeal quite early when chucked into a corner. Also, we would like to see how the Hector feels at triple-digit speeds on an open highway for sustained durations. MG has of course thrown in a whole host of safety technology like ESC, hill hold control, all of which make it that much easier to drive. And of course, I haven't mentioned that up till now, the top end variant gets 6 airbags as well. We said hello MG, and the Hector's reply was a bit surprising, because shorn of this flashy exterior and the gaudy promise of internet inside, what you end up with is a sensible family SUV. Because it is a large and spacious SUV, those engines are easy to drive with enough drivability for everyday use in the city and punch on the highway. The diesel offering a little bit more out there on the open roads. And in terms of driving manners, it is safe if unexciting. It is also packed with safety, convenience and comfort features, some of which are enabled by the connected car technology. But for many of them to be really impactful on an everyday basis, they need to have better consistency in terms of performance. Aside from that, the Hector could also do better in terms of backseat comfort, and the quality of the cabin fit and finish could be that little bit better to take on its rivals from other continents. But despite these shortcomings, we are optimistic about the Hector. Actually, scratch that, cautiously optimistic. Because as of now, we don't have prices of the Hector, and the Hector is also going to have to win our trust. But when MG launch the Hector later this month, they could ensure that when you walk into an MG showroom, you walk in not with caution, just with optimism.